Good evening, fellow warriors, guests, and audience. Welcome to the Iron Realm D&D group. We have come to episode 25. Thank you, audience, for watching so faithfully. If you have not watched or listened to our previous episodes, I encourage you to go back, all the way back to episode number 1. Start from the very beginning, and we will be right here waiting for you to catch up on all the adventure. Trust me, it is worth it. As everyone knows, we record each of our sessions on Wednesday nights. Once we complete the episode, we send it off to our production dungeon for processing. Once the trolls are done working their magic, they upload it to YouTube on Sunday afternoons. Just keep hanging with us. You never know what you're going to see or hear next. Each week, we take a moment to give a shout out to at least 3 small businesses that are catering to the D&D and gaming community. Tonight, we are celebrating all of those, and we will have each of those interspersed throughout this broadcast. Nice. So that you can see all of the folks that we have been working with so faithfully for the last 25 episodes. Whether it's gaming, podcasts, dice, or miniatures, maps, jewelry, or clothing, each of these small businesses cater to the D&D enthusiasts just like you and me. If you'd like to be highlighted in our weekly shoutouts, please contact us via our social media sources, which are in the description below. Many of you have been asking where you can find our content. Well, we're all over the place. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have our own wiki site. We're on TikTok, and as of a couple of weeks ago, we are now on Pinterest. Check us out all over the intranets. If you like what you see each week, please consider donating to our Patreon page. We upload content related to our weekly games, including maps and other drawings, module covers, etc. right there. There's an incentive to donating, including mugs, shirts, and other items that have the Iron Realm logo on them. All the funds go right back into creating the content that you watch each week. Check the description in the links below. And as a bonus, if you donate to the Patreon page, your name will be added to the Iron Realm wiki site as a donor, and when the Iron Realm manual and module is published, your name will be added there as well. Lastly, we would like to give a special shout out to our home away from home, Spec Ops Gaming Lounge, located in West Little Rock, Arkansas. Since the pandemic, we have not been able to spend any time other than our own at Spec Ops Gaming Lounge, just because we haven't been able to go in. We love Spec Ops. They have been great to us, continue to support us even though we've been far away. We always want to give them a shout out. Spec Ops is bringing a video game lounge experience that has never been seen before in Arkansas. We're creating a nerd haven for all video game lovers. You can find them at www.specopsgaming.com. And I encourage you to go over there, not only to see what their site is all about and what they are doing for our community, but also take a moment. Since they are a small business, take a moment and purchase a gift card from them. Whether you use it or not, the money goes right back to the things that they are doing. They are very wonderful people, and they're doing a lot for our young people, folks like us, and encouraging us to continue going forward. And Matt, did you want to say something?
Yes, they also have now hats and different shirts and hoodies like this one.
Yeah, you can contact them at any point in time via their website. Their phone number is also there, and order yourself some swag and support them. As I mentioned at the top of the episode, the top of the show, this is our 25th episode, and tonight we're celebrating. It is not the same. We're not actually gaming tonight. We're going to be talking about the last 25 episodes, as well as the fact some of the folks here have been with the Iron Realm D&D group since we started in August of 2019. And actually, one of our members had a pre-game to us doing the Iron Realm D&D group. Bradley started with the birthday game that I ran way back in early August of 2019, which kind of led into everything that happened and transpired and started the ball rolling with us being able to start the D&D that is known as the Iron Realm. So with that, tonight's episode is actually us remembering when and talking about some of the fun stuff that we have all gone through. We will hopefully be having other members of our group that are going to be popping in from at various times talking about stuff. Just depends on scheduling. But if you
we waited an hour.
Do what?
We waited an hour.
Yeah, we waited an hour hoping that everybody would be able to go. But this is kind of it's very special to me because when I first started this, I started with a small group of people in my living room. As you know, we pretty much all do with D&D. We kind of do it either in a shop or we do it at home or we do it at somebody else's house. And it kind of snowballs from there. I had no idea it was even going to become what it is. From drawing a very small map that was, little itty bitty to a gigantic one to now a digital map that everyone is a part of. It kind of blossomed from there. And I have to, first of all, thank each of you for continuing to support and to bring the game each week and bringing the characters to life. I hope that we will continue to be able to do this for years and years and years to come, because this group is not just a group of D&D people. As we've talked privately and stuff, we're very much a family, and we talk about everything that goes on in our lives, the good, the bad, the ugly, and then we bring it or set it aside when we play. And we have a couple of hours where we can just let our hair down, be somebody that we're not, and just enjoy the time, and then kind of go, what in the world were we thinking? And after we get done and laugh about it. And it's always the stuff that's kind of crazy, as I bonk stuff, that we always remember. So I'm going to let you guys talk a little bit because I feel like I'm talking way too much and I need to shut up. So if you guys want to start in with your favorite memories, things that you remember, let's get the ball rolling.
I tell you what I'd like to do. I'd like to, as the newest member and as the novice here, I would like to hear, how did this all start? I don't know if I fully know how it all started, and if you'd like to, kind of give us a setup here, to how this all started, I think that'd be a great starting point.
Okay.
And something that I'm interested in. And I think other people are too.
I can pretty much sum it up. I started playing Edition 1 when I was just a little kid, and with a neighbor up the street who basically, he had 4 sisters that didn't want to have anything to do with him. He was the only person. And he just was like, let's create a character, let's play D&D. And I was like, I have no idea what this is. And I really didn't get into it until middle school, and played for club, and then didn't do it again until I went to college. And this guy down the hall from me, named John, was actually playing another game with a group of people in the lobby of our dorm, and said, dude, come on over and play. And I've been kind of addicted to it ever since. It just happened that I was on.
So you're blaming me. So
I'm blaming you.
Part of this.
Yeah.
I'm kind of part of this origin story here. Okay.
Very much.
Nice. So. Wow. Okay. I didn't expect that. I wasn't asking that, but that's cool. Okay. Very neat.
I had a very similar start in that I was 9 or 10, and my stepbrother bought Steve Jackson's Into the Labyrinth. Okay. And was like, hey, it's come play this game, and I was like, okay, cool. And so he said, you pick a character, you decide, what race he's going to be, and then what, and I was like, okay. And I was 9 or 10. I was, and so I said, okay, I want to be a Smurf. And So I created a magic user Smurf.
And we've paid for all the copyright usage for all these terms that are
not at all.
going
It's
to be thrown about today.
1977.
No one...
What Das Shrooms, Sweden LLC. I don't know. Anyway, so I was a magic user Smurf named Flying Charlie Smurf, and played for 3-4 months with that character, and then my stepbrother got kind of tired of him, and some bad dice rolls ensued, and Flying Charlie went headfirst into a river of lava.
Oh boy!
Yeah. Oh, no.
So I was hooked for life. Played all through middle school, high school, college. Took a break, and then Chris invited me to his birthday game, and I said, "Oh yeah, that's yes." And then I had a little conflict with one of the other players, and I wasn't gonna play, but then I said, "You know what? I'm gonna let that go." And that guy and I we resolved our differences, and he ended up saving my dwarf's little hiney in that game. So
I've heard twice the birthday game. So what is the birthday game, Chris?
Well,
and what birthday, if you don't mind dating yourself, what was
no one else wants to. So.
What age?
What
age was the birthday?
It was August 16th of 2019. Let's see, this is 2021. So, and I'm going to be 49 this year.
So 47.
So 47. Yeah,
Okay.
David's like, no, but whatever.
Young guns.
Yeah.
Young guns. Children. David's like, do you have your driver's license yet?
I got I kind of got the bug to start DMing again the previous year in 2018 with a couple of people that I know that are theater folks like me. Okay. And I just started writing this story, and I was like, y'all come over, let's play. And we started getting together, and one of the stories called The Silver Pact came from that, and the beginning map of the Iron Realm. And then I decided I was going to do a bigger game and for my birthday. So I started writing this thing that ended up being 35 pages long and looks like an actual D&D module from the 74 to 78 series.
And you sent me that, right? You sent me that. Do you have a copy somewhere near you you could show the audience?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But I can take a picture and put it up there for people to see. But as it turned out, we had 16 people around 4 8x4 foot tables.
Okay.
And we're all trying to play this game together. It was monstrous, and it was very time consuming, and we didn't get it finished. And then we spent, what was it, 6 hours, Bradley? We played that game.
And there was also we were playing at the now defunct gaming store Imagine, and there was a Pokemon tournament taking place right next to us, and they decided just to keep getting louder and louder and louder, and there was like, "Booyah, Pikachu!" and I don't know what else there, but
we almost came to close.
Oh wow!
I asked them to step outside, and one of the other players was like, "What are you saying?" I said, "I just want them to go outside. I'm not going to follow them. I just want them to leave." We step outside.
We basically shut the store down, and it seems like every time that we played there in the early days, we were shutting the place down.
That's cool.
So that was always exciting, but the game didn't quite end when we thought it was going to. But Bradley was there, and Louise was there, and I mean, there was a whole smattering.
Allison was there.
Yeah, Allison was there.
Nice.
Allison, right here, happens to be my daughter. as well as a high school graduate as of yesterday.
Yeah, 23 hours. What, 24 hours?
Yeah, well,
And
right
she's
about this
nice.
time she was throwing her cap up in the air. But we had a great time, and I realized that I wanted to continue doing this.
Okay.
I really enjoy doing it, and I wanted to see if we could continue the story. Well, we still haven't, but in the meantime, I contacted Bradley, who was Bradley and I've been acting together, and Paul, I've been acting with him. Ami, I've known for a long period of time through the theater, and
It's been 8 years, Chris, that we've been doing this.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's just kind of snowballed from there, and then we've David and I do charity work through the Star Trek group that we're part of, and then. Of course, Allison got on board with us, and then
Hey, look at here. Our first
Pandemic.
special guest. Look at here.
Pandemic came in, and Matt, who's a friend of Ami, joined us. And then, right before Christmas, I think it was, I contacted John and said, "Hey, we're doing a couple of one shots over Christmas. Are you interested in joining us?" And he went, "Yeah." And then
Yes,
after we got
sir.
done, he went, I went, "Well, are you interested in continuing to play? Because we could always use another person." And boom, there he was.
There you
So,
go.
well,
For
Clarity,
Paul,
that was last
Praying.
Christmas.
By the way, I'd secretly been
2020.
praying that I was going to be able to perform well enough to be invited into this group. I felt that it was like an audition. So yes, I was. Yes,
You passed the audition for the
Yeah,
Flying
I was
Colors,
very
but,
excited.
there, was,
Yes.
there was hardly anything to the script that you would have to.
Hey, John.
Well, let me just build it up in my head as much as I want, Chris.
Paul, how the
Let me
heck
put it-
are you?
Do what?
Paul's here.
Yes.
Yeah, look, fresh from the hospital, fresh from ER,
Glad that you're with
fresh
us.
from ICU.
Definitely.
Yeah, I've got one more visit I got to make.
Oh,
I'll find out Friday when it is.
We are very thankful that you are alive and well, brother. We really are.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
so just so everyone knows, I'm not joking. Just give them a 2-second spiel here. What's been going on in your life over the last 10 days, weeks?
I had like almost it'll be 8 years November. I had a stent put in. I was that one almost did kill me. I was the doctor told me I was a couple of weeks from death. It's 99.9% blocked in the Widowmaker. They
Oh
took care of
yeah.
that. I was good for about the last year. I haven't been feeling well, and it just got worse. I started having chest pains and arm pains, and my primary care told me I was probably just out of shape. So I didn't agree with that. Went to the ER, and I got 2 stents, and I got to go back and get 2 more because the excessive blockage. So,
Wow.
Okay, you told us that story. Now tell us how you got into D&D. I
It
know
was
it's a
high
standard
school.
segue, but
I did D&D. Yeah, I did D&D when it wasn't cool. The great Satanic Panic.
Oh, nice.
I would meet up with a couple of friends that my parents were, they didn't want me going out and hang with them, but I'd go with another friend who would then take me to said friends, and I would hang out there and play some D&D.
That's
And then when they'd catch me, I'd have to stop. So yeah,
Where were you, Paul? I promise I was at a drunken frat party.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
I mean, really, they probably would have been better. Yeah, if you'd have.
exactly right.
Why do you keep getting these sets of
Exactly
dice in your mailbox?
They,
Every
my,
month?
my mother held a quasi intervention for me.
Nice.
Not kidding. I wish I was kidding.
That's hilarious.
Oh,
And then I
that
played
is
a little bit
awesome.
in the Army, in the military, in AIT. A couple of us got together and we didn't have really any supplies, so it just kind of had some dice, and that's about it, and just off our heads what we were
So
doing.
anyone here, and Paul, you can speak to this, and maybe David. So I hear military, huge role players in the military. Okay.
From my experience, yeah.
That's the downtime thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got my mom to play not Dungeons and Dragons, but another RPG called Champions. It was a superhero role-playing game, and I took her through the character roll-up, and she actually played Lash LaRue, an old movie serial hero from the 30s or 40s, and that was her superhero, and I ran a whole Champions campaign with her playing Lash LaRue. That was
That's neat. Yeah, that is cool.
So I have kind of a similar experience that Paul did. I started off, I moved my junior year of high school an hour away, which is like traumatic for an 11th grader to up and leave everything. And I moved from a big city to a small town. I moved from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Grove City, Pennsylvania, wherein I am not exaggerating, downtown is 2 blocks of a one-way street.
Yeah.
So
that's where all the cultists live. Yeah.
Huge culture shock. It was, and very closed community. So new people weren't really, there was no welcome wagon.
Okay.
Encircle the welcome wagons.
Yeah. But, and I never before had dabbled in any sort of geekery. I had never even read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I mean, that was, but there were
That's a great entry point, by the way. If anyone doesn't know that reference, Google it. It's a great
C.S. Lewis, guys. C.S. Lewis.
There was a group of about 5 guys that
They make burgers?
And fries.
not in Pennsylvania. They played Magic, and they also volunteered in the library, and I spent a lot of time in the library, and then I started volunteering in the library, and that's what they would do in their downtime at the library was play Magic. And so they taught me to play Magic, and that was my gateway drug. But I had to send my decks home with one of them, because when my mom caught me with a Magic deck in my house, there was some laying on hands, and there was
there
you go. Okay, right.
I'll sum up my childhood. My mom to this day thinks Tolkien was satanic, because Lord of the Rings is obviously satanic, because that kind of fantasy does not come from. Anyway, so she's gonna be real disappointed to see him in heaven.
Oh, that'd be funny to see.
Can you imagine the look on her face?
My name is J.R.R. Tolkien.
My mom
Right. You have an opinion about my
Give me
books.
$20 and say have fun.
That's right. That's awesome.
So, yeah, I mean, I very, very closed childhood. So, but I started playing Magic, and then when I went to college, 1,000 miles away from home, and yes,
I wonder
those
why.
they're connected. I didn't know anyone. I didn't and so I found other people who played Magic, because that was like the one thing that I could find other people that did, and they introduced me to D&D, and so I started playing Magic in 1994 and D&D in 1996, and I started hanging out in the local game store, and then went through the college thing, decided to stay 1,000 miles away, and got an apartment there, kept hanging out in the game store. The general manager of the game store was kind of cute, so I married him. And the rest is history. Now I've got my kids are DMs, and I'll play. And
nice. Okay. All right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's probably the best so far.
The old tilted
You're ahead. Yeah, if you marry,
I didn't know it was a competition. I could have spiced it up a little bit.
Well,
I know I could date. I'll date myself, but the very first character you tell when I started playing, my very first character was a barbarian, and his name was Aaron Van Dam Aerosmith.
I would love it.
I will say this: I talked to David, and he will date himself before any one of us.
Well, since we're talking about the myths of ancient times here, Back
Before dirt came
in
around.
my very
Was D&D invented yet? Did dice exist when you were a
Hey,
child?
Wait for it. Back
So-
Did you
the-
clatter some rocks together?
in
The
a
D20
very
was a
7
board.
degrees of separation here, my roommate's ex-roommate was friends with a gentleman who worked with both Gygax and Jackson while they were developing
nice.
some of their basic games.
Oh.
When I started playing, the first rules that we played with were mimeographed sheets
Did
that
you
were
sniff 'em?
hand done on a typewriter,
Did-
stolen basically from Gygax back in the late 70s, early 80s. And then the next thing we worked with was what had to have been no more than about 4x6 booklets. It's what I called Zero Edition. These were not even really released via the gaming stores. Those were the booklets that we used when I started playing D&D. And then I got deep into it in what would be considered first edition, which was the color-coded boxes, boxed sets. My
Red,
first
blue.
dice, which I still own, came with a crayon, and you had to crayon in the numbers
Sure.
so that you could see them from the pressing.
That's right.
And then I played for quite a while, and then DM for a while, and then I joined the military, and didn't play again for almost 15 to 20 years. When a huge group of military personnel said, "Oh, we want to see play this new game we've been working with, and we want to play it. So let's get a group together. What is it? D&D?" And
Something
then
new.
I ran a bunch of games, then put it down because I didn't want to learn yet another edition of the game, because I think at that point in time we were on 3.5 or 4, and so we put that down, and then I fast forward another 10 years or so, and I run into the great and powerful Bog, who convinces me to play in 5th edition, and I'm going, "Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to learn a whole new set of rules." "Oh no, it's easy. Someone like you can pick it up and no problem." Someone like you. Yeah.
It's easy. You can do it.
Who knew?
While I may have
Yeah, a
started
simple,
with
dumbed
Clay
down
Tablets
version of the
and
rules that a child can play.
That's
Yeah,
right.
most of us are so old. We played the original Caves and Carnivores.
Yeah, while I may have started with stone knives and bearskins, I can't handle reeds and clay tablets now.
Well, it was really hard to make D20s out of
Yeah.
bone, but it was.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't have to play. I lived it, that kind of thing. And we
Yeah.
both-
Yeah, the age
unfortunately,
of
this
magic
group,
was something I knew. I wasn't, barbarians.
this group
Find
is
a
not
napkin, somebody bring me a dog.
LARPers. We're not LARPers by any means. That's.
I have LARPed back when
I've
could-
LARPed too, and
I
in
have
public.
too. I know. I mean, I think we all have at one point or another. Especially those of us who have acted. We do that every time we walk across the stage. It's like,
I mean,
I
there's
was
a
in I
thin
Am
line
Cross.
between cosplay and LARPing.
agreed.
Very thin.
Agreed.
Very
So Matt, being the person who I guess you never played it before you joined us and started, and
So-
and if the audience could see behind you, this guy has become addicted since June of last year.
Matt, this is your
No.
intervention, by the way.
Hey, Chris,
Uh,
tomorrow marks 1 year.
oh gosh,
Oh,
May of last.
Yes,
Oh, very cool.
because on this I got made.
Oh, that's right.
If you see the date, 5/20/20,
5/20/20, yeah.
Well, that's
8/20.
Oh, by the way, welcome down the rabbit hole.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no
sorry,
doubt.
Oh,
sorry that
he
we-
rules the rabbit hole now. He is the rabbit at this point.
At least he's not the hole.
Yeah, I'm sorry about your bank account being so, having such a high.
No, that's my car payment. But anyways, no. What actually was going on with it is I wanted to play for a couple years and really never found a group of people to play. Well, one day, right amongst in the beginning of the pandemic and everything, I ended up making a post on Facebook saying, "Hey, does anyone play D&D or have a group willing to teach me?" Well, and me pops on and goes, "Hey, I play with a group. We're playing tomorrow or on Wednesday, and I can, talk to you and see what the group says and everything, and we go from there." Well, that Wednesday, me and me end up setting up Tolnar, who I'm currently playing right now. That possibly is gonna die soon. Who knows?
You're all gonna
Second time
Much
unconscious. And
trying really hard.
so we literally end up making Tolnar in about 4 hours with me asking all the questions I had. And
half of it was just texting back and forth while
Yeah.
I'm working, and like he's messaging because he works overnight, so he was free during the day and should have been sleeping, I guess. I don't know. And
It's off.
and I'm trying to explain this. I'm like, how do you explain some of this stuff like via text without rewriting the handbook?
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
and
think
at
at one
that-
point we did talk on the phone for just a minute, but
And at
Yeah.
that time, I ended up having my Dungeon Master Guide, my Player's Handbook, and my Monster Manual on order from Amazon. And so I ended up playing that first night. Went well. I was doing intense, starting. Okay, well, I wanted to learn more as I can. So I've been listening to Critical Role and other different things to get more ideas. I remember 2 things. One, the reason why I have the date and time on my dice box is because my very first roll in the very first campaign was a nat 20.
No, that's cool.
Second
Now, that is awesome.
game, very first roll was a nat 20.
Yep.
From there on out, Chris has cursed my dice.
Do well.
you roll something like
Pick a
4 or
lot.
5 nats on your first night.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I rolled that many. I know the very first one was a nat 20, and it was just, I don't remember what I was rolling for.
I think
Yeah,
we all
I've-
were floored that he rolled a natural 20 on his
On
very,
the very
Yeah.
first roll.
Which is it, Matt? With is it you can't stealth or you can't pick locks?
I
know which
can't
one.
stealth. I can pick any lock
Pick
except
locks,
for
yeah,
a
it's a stealthy
magical
stealth.
lock
No,
is something
you
that would
can't.
kill us.
There may
Okay.
still be a
You're looking.
trap
You can
behind
recognize a door.
Hey, I can pick locks. I have not had that bad of a lock picking yet.
it. Last but
But-
not least is Allison, who
Our
is
youngest.
our youngest member. You want to?
Yeah.
We can barely see your face. Because
Kilroy
you're-
was
Mrs.
here.
Wilson,
She's trying to do a Kilroy is here. Put the hands up.
So tell us a little bit about your experience.
Don't worry, I
And
got
you're on mute. Unmute and embarrass your
Yes.
father.
She's got to stretch first.
I mean, no wonder
Very
she
good.
was
Father.
cameras. It's cool.
Go for it.
It's pretty good.
Right.
Look at
You
these
gotta
stage
have to get used
pictures
to speaking.
Look at
Going
these
to college,
stage
you have-
pictures
you have
behind
speech
her.
class.
of this loving father. Look at this
Did-
loving father figure. Stage
Did you play
pictures.
Minx in the birthday game?
Yeah, Minx was my very first character that I ever made. D&D, period. Then afterwards, kind of branched out, but this was the one that I keep coming back to. So,
So, did your dad force you to play Dungeons and Dragons?
no, he actually
That's really
asked if
what
I
we
wanted to
wanna
play. He asked if I wanted to play, and I asked him, "What's D&D?" And then he just started going on and on and on.
The opposite of most of our experiences.
Yep.
I agree. Okay.
We're playing the D&D behind my back.
Yeah, that's right.
So I had a weird thing with Allison in that I knew Allison better than I knew Chris when I started playing
Oh wow.
with him in this campaign, because Chris and I had just sort of barely crossed paths in the theater world. We'd never done a show together. We'd never even been at the same theater at the same time, like as far as working on projects or whatever.
Okay.
But Allison was in one show that I stage managed. Did we do one show together? We did Little Brother together, but I can't remember if we did more than that. But
I think we
Maybe
did
just-
another one, but I can't remember what that other one
I
was.
feel like that's also an accurate statement, but I can't either. So, but so anyway, then when Allison started playing, I was like, oh hey, I know you. I mean, I knew Chris was her dad, but like, I don't know, it was just kind of weird. It was like, I know this teenager better than I know her
Your
dad.
dad.
It's amazing how D&D can just bring people together, and there's automatically that bond there. I only knew when we started playing. I only knew Chris, and when we got the game together, I met Jonathan and Garrett and Angelo, and was Sky there at first?
Occasionally.
Yeah,
Occasionally. She didn't come quite as often.
And in the first game,
She didn't come from the very beginning.
right? So then in the second game, as soon as I figured out how to pronounce his name, which is incredibly similar to my middle name, so I should have gotten it right away. But it was like just an instant bond, and we found out since we have a lot of other things in common. So I now consider, Chris was already one of my best friends. Now I consider me one of my best friends, and then Matt and David and Paul. It's like I have this whole circle of people that it's hard to describe.
David got that.
My inner circle. That's
And
Great worm.
who here said that they schedule their Wednesday nights? They make sure that there is nothing going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Okay,
work tonight.
Matt?
I
Okay.
work a shift. I work Sundays through Thursdays. I work 11 p.m. to 9 a.m. And when Chris first invited me to this game, I was like, can it be Thursdays? Because, I work Wednesdays. And he's like, well, no, it's going to be Wednesdays. And I'm like, okay. So on Wednesday mornings, I make sure when I get home, I go right to bed and I get enough sleep. I set my alarm. My alarm goes off at 5 o'clock, and it's Misty Mountains from Lord of the Rings.
Nice.
And it's like, start over.
Sure.
And I get up and I'm like, it's D&D time. And so and I get ready and get showered and get dressed, and I hit the Zoom, and before it was I hit Spec Ops or I hit Game Goblins.
Yep.
There was a month that I took every single Wednesday off of the month, so I make sure to stay till the end of the game, and not have to go to work that night. But
That's cool. I thought I literally remember someone saying that this was like a therapy session
it
for
is.
them. So
It is
Yeah.
for all of us.
that's great.
Yeah.
After last year, I definitely needed some
The-
type of social interaction with
Okay.
people.
Sure.
I had
When I first started this, I kind of went, well, this is going to be an on and off kind of thing. I never knew that we were going to go into a pandemic, which would allow us to record everything that we could give it out to everybody else, as well as promote D&D companies, and that we could build. I mean, everybody here in this group has helped over the course of the last year and a half of building what is the Iron Realm. And the Iron Realm is no longer just one particular continent. It's now flourished into an entire world. Although the audience hasn't seen that yet, it will soon enough.
And speaking of the audience, if you're just one of those, and I've been that type. I listened to Critical Hit for 9 years before I ever even wrote an email saying, I love you guys. So I mean, I understand if you're just watching, you're just enjoying. Please, it helps you, it helps us, it helps everybody. Let us know that you're watching. Hit a comment in the YouTube. Send us an email. Send us a Patreon subscription. No, if you want, because then you become a part of us. And like I said, this is not just like, oh, I just like watching these silly people on YouTube. I didn't know Jonathan from Adam when he joined us for the Christmas one shot, and now I'm a huge fan of the guy, and I consider him a great friend, and I've never met him in person.
Yeah,
but
John is actually in Chicago. So he's in a whole different state than the rest of us. The rest of us are in central Arkansas. So, and none of us have the twang by any means. But, this is a group that, I mean, if we had people that were part of this group that were overseas, we would still want them to be involved in this. I never thought that this would flourish as much as it has, but the thing that keeps me coming back week after week is each one of you, as well as the story, and being able to create that story for you guys. And as we've all said before, we get frustrated. The plans that I have don't always go the way they're supposed to, and then the plans that you guys have don't always go the way that they're supposed to.
Or names things like Drake from State Farm,
We've had that's been recent, but Ami
and that's not over yet. Next game we're back. I have plans.
Ami and Bradley and Paul actually started out with me running this story, the concept of the Iron Realm, while we were at a local game shop called Game Goblin. But our group got bigger, and unfortunately the place got noisier as we were playing, and we couldn't concentrate. And week after week, we kept coming back and playing. And we contacted Spec Ops and said, look, we need a quieter place to be able to play. And they were like, come on, join us. And they welcomed us with open arms. And Jesse and Kaylee, that are, main folks that are over there week after week, they just were ecstatic to see us. We were always willing to do what we could for them, what we can for them. I mean, we still do.
We never played a single game of Fortnite.
You're breaking up real bad, Paul.
I said they had some great snacks there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Snacks.
Foodage was excellent.
And they're actually changed. They're doing garlic butter now for their pizza sandwiches.
You're killing me.
As long as they still have the banana straw, that's all I care about.
They have bananas.
Paul near the garlic butter.
That banana straw. The picture alone makes every male cringe.
I mean, I'm a nerd, so I mean.
Well, for those of you who don't know, we do need a picture of that so we can reference it during the quiz.
I have it.
Well,
I might have one too.
Send it.
It's
but
you need to tell the story of that.
Okay.
That's one.
Like you're giving a catheter to a banana.
Yeah, that is one we definitely need to talk about.
I gotta back up though, because I go up to the counter and I ordered, and I forget what shake it is, but I ordered a milkshake.
DK Deluxe?
Yes, DK Deluxe shake, right? And Kaylee says, do you want the banana? And I don't know what that means. I say, yes, I love banana. Give me some banana, right?
Clarify that. Do you want the banana question?
And so then the way it works at Spec Ops is you go and you order your food, and half the time you don't have to wait for it. They just bring it out to you. So we're playing, and Kaylee comes up to the table, and she sets this monstrosity in front of me, and it's like overflowing out of the top of the cup. But the banana was not just a part of the milkshake as I had anticipated. The straw for the milkshake was inserted through the banana and then set into the shake. And so out of this mound of whipped cream, there comes the banana with the straw coming out of it.
And those of us who have had kidney stones.
There you go. No, mine was actually different. That was so. That was after they changed them. Because then later on that night, Kaylee was like, So I just found out we're supposed to put the straw through the other way so it doesn't look like this.
Yes.
Anyway,
So flip that around where it's the ends where it's going through. It actually looks like a catheter.
Yeah.
It was. Anyway.
The
so
game
the
was
game
paused for many
stops. I think there was a good 15-20 minutes where none of us could play.
Oh
Like,
wow!
We were
I
laughing,
had
and the
tears.
guys were cringing.
I had tears rolling down my face. I was laughing so hard, and it's like, how do you take a drink of this thing, right? Like,
From the open end.
but right?
You gotta have a fax accompanying
There's
it to take a drink out of it.
There's some implication that goes
We're
with
all
the
trying not
consuming
to
this
laugh. You drink
milkshake.
this banana shake. And,
Yeah.
And it was, and so like at a certain point, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna take a break. I don't even know what else to do. and it just got funnier. Like as it went on, it just got
Sure.
funnier, and even more inappropriate things happened that I'm not specifically on the show.
Oh,
Details.
Because I'm just saying,
I'll
like-
tell one.
What'd you say?
I'll tell one. But
Well-
the story that I've been wanting to tell.
Well, I meant about the shake, but
Oh, the shake. Yeah, no. The
Yeah.
other story. This is
You
So-
keep it real.
This is where, yeah, this is
100%
where
real.
if anyone's in the audience, if there's like this hard edit and then another story just starts, you're gonna know that this was inappropriate.
I will tell it as tactfully as possible. But
Okay,
early
all
on
right.
in the adventure,
Good luck. Good luck.
Me was still playing Liana, and I was playing my original character, Nature Cosmos, who is a tiefling druid. So they're both druids, and we were battling these blood witches, elemental blood witches.
Yep, I know.
Yes.
the
We had
story.
already defeated the wood witch, and when we defeated the wood witch, we simultaneously with very high rolls involved, ripped off both of her arms, and then stuck the arms through her ear sockets and took her to below 0 hit points and won. And so each of our characters now had a animated wooden arm, which we like to cast Shillelagh
I
with, and
still do.
Nature still has his. He's waiting to get it back from the church, but that's another story for another time. And
I had
so-
to win mine back at Igor's game.
Yeah, that's true. So when we were facing the next witch, the fire witch, we were fighting it, and Nature, being a tiefling, is basically fireproof. So he did a acrobatic flying somersault flip over the fire witch, landing behind her. And at the time, he had this bag of wondrous objects or something along those lines. Anyway, where he could reach in, pull out this furry orb of. There were 3 of them in there, and he could throw it in the air, and it would turn into a random creature. You rolled a d8, and one of those 8 things appeared.
Okay.
So,
All right.
or you could just summon it. So he reached into the bag with the arm. The arm grabbed the fluff ball, and Nature then, being behind the fire witch, inserted the ball with the arm in the closest available entry
Orifice.
point. Entry point, yes. And then the ball turned into a badger.
And
And
he, from the inside.
Fire Witch
Inside.
exploded.
Wow.
And Garrett, who was playing Neri at the time, decapitated her just as the badger appeared inside. And I was hoping for a giant panther, but badger will do.
I mean, badger
Yeah,
don't care.
in this case, the badger did wonders. Exploded her all over creation.
A wonderful colon prep.
One of the one of
that is
one of
the
great
magical
moments.
item that I think I missed most, and it wasn't even mine. Was that?
That bad. Yeah, he'll get
Bag
that
of-
back too eventually. So
Yeah.
Paul, you were with us from the very beginning, weren't you? Did you play
Yeah.
one of the
It was
original
Hammer.
games?
Hammer. Yeah.
Were you on the? I'm trying to think. Were you on the boat for the very first adventure?
Well, I think Hamill was the reason the boat got burned up, wasn't he?
Yes.
Because he backtalked the guy. He was like, "No, I'm not going to. I don't." He wanted us to bow, and Hammer's like, "Nah." And then everything just went to hell after that. But yeah,
we started
and
off.
then nature whipped the crew into shape.
Well,
I will say, as far as campaign origin stories go, as far as like how did our characters meet and whatever, this has been probably my favorite one because I really hate that first session of the awkwardness. Like, you look around the tavern and there's a guy in the corner, and I'm like, really? I don't care. Like, but I know what has to happen, so I got to make up some crap reason why my character goes and talks to this guy. Like, I like that we just all passed out in wherever we happened to be, and come to find out we'd been drugged, but we woke up on a slave ship all chained together. Like, you're stuck with each other now. Figure it out. Like,
hold on. And what's funny about that is that first session, we were onto our almighty bog here, and that so the bartender's being really nice, and the waitress is being really nice, and that's free food and free drink, and so my character was drinking water from his amulet of and this is like his, I'm just gonna drink what I have.
The only guy who does not get affected, gets affected.
And so finally Chris is like, okay, here's what happens. You're all sitting there, very carefully avoiding all this poisoned food I've set out before you. So the lights go out, you fall unconscious, and you wake up on a boat.
I was trying very hard to go by the module, and the module is not.
I was like, you could have just started us out on the boat.
Those are the days of using modules that kind of got some good things and some bad things before really rocking and rolling and becoming what we have for the Iron Realm. So,
and Chris,
but that's what he did with me, Bradley, because I think we were doing Bad Seed, and so I had to miss. That was the first session you guys had with the Iron Realm was the brush up for the last weekend of Bad Seed. So when Chris approached me about playing, I said, well, I can't start that day. So I started the second week, and that was just it. Is like, he was like, I sat down at the table, and he's like, all right, you wake up after being unconscious, and you have no idea how you got here, and you're on a slave ship.
It started with Bad Seed. It went on to the Lady's Fist.
Now, one of the most, now I've been around here for a few months, one of the most famous things, or I'm going to call it famous, that I keep hearing over and over is something about a restaurant
and salty keg
and a shift. A shift came in.
Yeah.
Can someone flesh this out and tell this in some orderly fashion?
Well, I'll handle this one.
Okay. And I'll add as he goes on certain things.
From a DM, one of the most frustrating things is that when the characters don't follow the plan you have set up. And I know we did this to poor Chris.
You do this all the time.
in basic D&D fashion, there's the notice board of jobs to be the adventure hook.
Sure.
And we read the notice board, then we get sent out into the fens, into the bogs, with the idea of we have to clear out this monster infestation in the bog. Not an uncommon D&D occurrence. I mean, it's fairly common. Go out, kill, come back.
Probably happening 15 times tonight at a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, probably. But when we went out, because my particular character is not necessarily a run-in and hack and slash, contrary to the way he acts.
You're right. He's running into like.
Sorry, how did we meet you?
Yeah,
we'll get into that one later.
Chef Blake.
We decided to talk. We decided to talk to them, find out what's going on. We find out they're being hunted. That they're the victims of some scenario that we don't know yet.
They're bullywogs.
They're bullywogs. They're
okay.
bullywugs, frog creatures.
Frog-like creatures, which is important to the story.
Which
Everybody
is
Google
important.
bullywugs if you don't know what they are.
You know,
I'll post a picture.
and so we
Why
set up an
are there
ambush for the
so
people
many?
who are tormenting the bullywugs, and we slaughtered them.
There you go.
So,
well,
okay,
bullying's
we put
that's a
them-
common thing now, right? You know, that we try and battle
Well-
against, right, in this
well,
world.
We,
Right? Is
we,
bullies
we were
don't like
protecting the
bullies?
downtrodden, which is
There
not
you go.
something we normally do.
Okay.
So we put the offenders back in the cart, take the cart back into town. We stop at the Saltine Keg, and walk in to try and get food. I mean, we weren't planning on doing anything, and then we
No, that was where the reward was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's where we were going to
Yes.
get the reward. So we go
That's
in
where I
and we
want
talk to the manager who says, "Have you done what we asked?" We say, "Yes," and we talk about it. And then one of his minions goes out to check the cart because they're thinking it's full of bullywugs to serve on the menu in the restaurant.
He asked us, "Are the
Frog
bodies in the
legs
cart?"
are a-
Yeah,
Yes.
the body and
The body-
He
Frog
asked,
legs
word
are
for
a
word,
delicacy.
are the bodies in the cart? And we said, "Yep."
and Tolnar was up there.
And he gave us the reward.
He
Yes, I
gave
was
Matt
really-
Tolnar collected the bounty.
I was hoping Chris was going to have me roll deception. I really was because I have a plus my deception.
And then
Tolnar.
And then when the minion comes back in, describes what he sees, a big fight breaks out, and we kill everybody in the Saltine Keg but one.
Who was coming out of the bathroom?
We have basically destroyed all of the first shift and all of the second or third shift.
Third
I mean,
shift,
we killed
yeah.
2 shifts of this restaurant, including the manager. So we take it over. So now we have a restaurant that we make money from.
And you have a general manager whose name is Todd, who just happened to be in the bathroom at the time that all this is going down, and one of our Jay, who plays Jest, he was actually coming out of the bathroom too, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" He was
like
right
Pulp
here as
Fiction,
well.
a la John Travolta in Pulp Fiction,
It
right?
was
And
yeah.
for our viewers, I will be playing Todd in an upcoming side quest soon.
Nice.
the
Nice.
the
So
funny
what's
thing-
funny though is that's not the first business we took over.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
wow.
actually.
Oh, really?
Back
Yeah.
up
I
to
don't
the
know
sla-
that. Okay.
Back up to the slave ship that started
slave
this
ship.
whole thing.
That-
After
now
we
they don't-
killed
they take
almost
their own.
all the crew, and it was the first mate.
Yeah, it
This
was,
is what we do. We kill everyone but one, and then we try to get information out of
The
them.
first mate was Biff. Biff,
Biff.
the first mate.
So Biff was the first
tiefling
mate.
Beheaded 2 of the guards with his whip, and just like snapped their heads off. And then the rest of the party had Biff on the stairwell, and my tiefling had his whip, and I rolled intimidation, and I said, "Do you want to help us?" And Biff said, "Yeah."
Actual work?
I don't want to die.
Funny thing about mercenaries, right? Hey, funny thing about part-time workers, right?
If you have a better offer and more pay, they'll go to you.
Well, the boat,
Guaranteed.
the boat.
So we ran the boat for a while. We got the money from because then we made Biff captain,
Mhm.
and he was
Biff.
sending us our cut of the profits. We said, just keep doing you, man. Just keep up the good work.
And we
Here's
love
our routing
Captain
number.
Biff
You
because
made
he
McKee,
goes around
made-
to the crew, goes, "Hey, butthead, let him swap the deck."
The ship got you guys back to shore in Ash's Cove, and that's where you guys started off at the tavern there. And come to find out, the rest of the slaves on the ship came off the ship and burned the town down. I mean,
Yeah.
just destroyed it.
And we
And
helped.
because of your alliance with Biff, and he was bringing in money. They were able to rebuild the town, and there is now a bank there that is collecting all of the party's stuff, gold from various trades and things like that happened with the ship. Although we found out towards the end of that campaign that Biff's ship was actually destroyed, and at the beginning of the next campaign, which kind of got put on hold because of all of the COVID stuff, we had with the Eastern Thieves Guild. They actually said, well, we'll give you a ship. We'll take 80% of the profit. You guys get 20%, and you guys can continue using the ship. And someone said, can Biff still be the captain? And we were like, sure. So now he's trolling around the waters, collecting money for them and giving most of it to the Eastern Trade.
And if we ever get the chance, and if he's watching, God bless him, but if we could ever get a cameo from Tom Wilson to play Captain Biff in an episode,
I would love that. Well,
So,
and that,
Chris,
that sorry to interrupt, but that Saltine Keg is not the first one that you guys actually
have two.
went to. That's the second one. The first one was in Highwind. In Highwind Keep, the central part of Ithacoth, the central part of the kingdom.
Ithacat.
And you guys actually went in, and they, the owner of the Saltine Keg, well, actually, all of his employees are wearing leather aprons that have gold stars stamped into them and their name in gold. If you get the idea of what a Saltine Keg is, audience, you'll understand what we're actually referring to. But the owner of the restaurant,
and they have the best chicken fried kobold in the Four Kingdoms.
The owner actually said that gave you a mission that if you brought back pieces of monsters that you kill, he will buy them from them. From the party.
Nice.
And of course, then you guys fell asleep, and you haven't been.
We have two standing offers. One from somebody that we're not really sure what she does, and honestly, we just didn't ask questions to buy any random body parts we come across.
This lady
and
wants
then,
the body.
And then the Saltine Keg, the first one, to buy any potentially edible meat. And so we basically have 2 bags of holding full of random body parts and possible meat that we just pick up wherever we go. We killed it. His eye popped out. Throw that in there.
So Chris, so Chris, I when I've always ran published adventures, published worlds. So can you speak a little bit about, you have created this entire homebrew world called Iron Realm. Can you just speak a little bit about how did you create that by yourself? Did you create that with other people? And all of these stories that we're hearing, they all come from that, and you've been building that piece by piece. Tell a little bit about just the Iron Realms in general. Especially for people that are intimidated to try and do their own home brew.
Oh, well, my first thing is, don't ever let your creativity or your distrust in your creativity keep you from doing anything. Whether it is in D&D, it's acting, or public service or whatever. Do it with all your passion, do it with all your might. Doesn't matter what it is, and continue to do it. Continue to hone those skills over and over and over again. I've always been a writer. I've written for a number of years. I have 2 plays that are published. I've been an actor for a number of years. I'm not as good with voice acting. That's why you don't hear me do little characters and things like that. I can't. I always feel silly and self-conscious about it, and that's something I probably need to break out of my shell on. But with the Iron Realm, the first 2 or 3 modules or games that we played, adventures that we played, were written by someone else. And I always give credit to those people because they worked really hard at what they did. But then I started seeing that the modules weren't as good as I wanted them to be. And they didn't go in the direction that I wanted to see. I had other ideas, and it just kind of... Honestly, I created a map that was 11 by 17 sheets of paper put together. it was very small, rolled up or folded up, and the adventurers got to use that to say, okay, I want to go here, or this is how far it's going to be to here. And I worked on that in the airport while I was traveling for business a couple of times. Well, it got to be that I wanted more, and I wanted it to be bigger, and I wanted it to be better. And my stories started building off of that. And now the physical map that I have is 12 11 by 17 sheets of paper connected together, where one of our members of the Iron Realm, John, actually got a lady to digitize it by getting on a ladder as high up as she could to take a photograph of it, because it was, it takes up a gigantic wall. I'll put that in there. But as time went by and technology changed,
please do, yeah.
I've been able to do a digital version of that, and then done a world map that has other kingdoms and other continents surrounding it. So it's, the technology is there that you can do anything that you want to do. And I started asking Paul, who was playing a monk at the time, I asked him to think about the origins of the monks of the Iron Realm. Bradley was involved with the deities of
I wanted to talk about that, because I was so excited when Chris gave me that task.
Ami has been involved with the druids. Let's see, Garrett has worked on the Rangers. John has done a lot of the Thieves Guild and that sort of thing. Plus, not John, but John Martin has played two very influential characters in our campaigns. He's also been my right-hand man. We spent close to 6 hours sitting in a not Dixie Cafe, what was it, Jason's Deli, sitting and planning out all of last year. This is way before the pandemic. This is like in January, and we planned out everything that was going to happen. Well, as soon as the pandemic hit, that went right out the window, and I had to figure out what to do. And it was a perfect opportunity that at the beginning of March, when all that pandemic stuff happened, everybody we were in campaign 2, session 1, which was called
Undercroft?
No, it was not retaliation. My brain's not wanting Retribution, thank you. And everybody was in a library. They had just fought these possessed inkwells and other things in the library.
Which explains Bronson's fear of inkwells.
And you guys were all taking a long rest. And as it turned out,
just about to find out the other piece of this world that I built, and B, something about Liana, because nobody knows anything about Liana.
And as it turned out, everybody was taking that long rest, and it was the perfect opportunity to say that everyone who is in there is asleep. Okay, everybody's asleep, you're resting, but you wake up in a whole different part of the continent, and here's the situation. You wake up in these rooms in this tavern. Someone bangs on your door and says it's time to get out. Your night is done. And come to find out, it was Mrs. Kravitz in the
Circle Sonny share on the radio.
And she was banging on the door trying to get people out. And all of our characters woke up, going, "Why am I here? And what's going on?" And we started doing some modules again, and again, it just did not fit. There were pieces missing, or it didn't flow right. And so I went, you know what? I'm going to start writing again. And sure enough, the last campaign and then, or not campaign, the last mission and then this mission were both ones that I wrote, and I have enjoyed them so much more than just
And we
you know,
have
I
too,
know-
or I certainly have.
this one.
I
It
can
really
say
is
I-
a dungeon
I-
crawl at the moment, but there's really specifics that you guys are trying to find out to get to that last point before this all ends. But you know,
And
I love writing it. I mean, that's one thing.
cool.
If you're
back to the deity section you were talking about, Chris. I just want, and I got to go, so I just want to throw this in real quick. When you gave me that task to come up with a theology of the Iron Realm, I jumped into it, and it was so much fun. And I think we've had fun with the creativity of all the beings of greatness, the bogs,
all of the bogs.
and then of course there's the one true bog.
Alphazar.
Yeah.
Bog.
And, well, yeah, there's the one true bog, our DM, and then there's the pantheon of bogs led by the alpha bog.
And tell the audience, they all start with
Hey,
They all start with
Oh.
A.
One
Except
exception.
for-
Very unique.
Like three-
So
there's like-
unique.
There's a
Oh, there's
handful
two?
that.
Oh, that's
don't.
right. There are two
Yeah.
exceptions.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Exceptions.
Now I do not know that. What are the two?
The
Or
two
can
exceptions
can you
are
reveal them?
Zed.
Who? Zed.
Who rules the
Another
rules the
hey,
Abaddon
another Pulp
underworld.
Fiction reference, by the way.
And then there is Medius, who when you meet
Doesn't that
Todd,
start with an A?
Medius.
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 Oh, M.
Medius is the gender-neutral bog of neutrality.
Cool. Okay.
And-
Nice.
So it's like meh. And Todd is the monk of Medius. Who cares?
Okay. All right. Cool.
For those in the audience who don't realize it, my last name happens to be Boggs, and so when we talk about the Alpha Bog, they're jokingly talking about me, but that's also the name of the
You are the one true bog.
one true
You are
Bog.
the one true.
And the Alpha is
Beings
the leader
of greatness.
The Beings of Greatness, BOG, which is I absolutely love that. It
Fantastic.
kind of warms my heart
So
that,
great, man.
that you came up with that.
It's so
Um,
great.
but the creativity of each of the people that are here and being able, Bradley coming up with all the deities, which a lot of them are funny. And if you want to know what the deities are, you need to go to our wiki site and look
There
at
you
this
go.
whole
There
list
you
there.
go.
Two good examples.
Hey, yeah, and another good thing, let's make sure, Chris, if you can, to get these links.
Oh, they're all they're
Okay,
in the video. Yeah.
put the links in the bottom. Okay.
Two fun examples of the pantheon of bogs. The one that nature worships is Arbor, the bog of nature, or the bog of the trees, Arbor. And the one that if you were a bard or a player or an actor, the bog of actors is Alan Alda.
which
All
actually
right.
makes me feel great.
Alphazar.
I've always associated my dad, my real dad, with Alan Alda because I grew up on watching old MASH reruns.
Nice.
So the two of them look
That's a
kind
great
of
show.
similar in some ways, but I've always thought that made me feel good when you did that. So, but Paul spent time working on the monks and where they live, and the temple of the temple
Silver
of
chimes.
which
Yeah.
actually I've actually got the map on my screen, so I can see the map at any time. But yeah, the silver
Which is actually a recreation of the Shidon Temple.
Yes.
Basically what-
yes.
How cool is that?
It's not. We're not trying to rip off anyone at all. What we are doing is placing honor on those folks that have come before us and created
Nice.
something that, look, we all know who J.R.R. Tolkien is. He is the master of what has become D&D.
Sure.
Yes, Gygax took that and created what we consider to be,
Well, he
D&D.
put rules to it. He put
Yeah,
rules
he put
to it.
rules to it.
And there is MERPs, but you know.
Yeah, well, the main thing here is that we've had people who have created something that we're building off of, and that's really what D&D is. Each of you have taken and internalized a small character and created, you know, whoever it may be, whether it's nature or it's Q or it is Tolnar, or, you know,
there's so much to explore with the
Is
children
that a
of
short
Arbor.
joke?
There's always going to be a shoulder joke when it comes to Q.
Yeah, it just goes right over his head most of the time.
But
If we ever get a 17 rated broadcast, the children of Arbor will
Yeah,
be
no,
Well, that's what we're going to tell the story. Hey, of the 13 levels of hell. But we'll get to that later.
yeah, those,
If you got to edit that,
Really cool.
you can
I
edit
gotta
that.
go. I'll see you
Hey,
later.
man, see ya.
Before you
Happy
go,
25th.
give us your best memory.
Oh,
Best memory. Best. I've already told a few: the whips and the badger and the arms. But and it's weird because this just happened. But I think the Nat 20 greatly enhanced Bronson's outrage when he slammed the woodwode into the wall to rescue both.
yes.
Both paid damage to the woodwode, but also to rescue Talinar.
he was stuck
and so-
behind a wall.
Yeah. So I think so far that's been Bronson. Okay, Bronson fits. The story behind him to begin with was simply beholden to a previous incident, and I use that word specifically, in that two of our wonderful characters, Kriv the Dragonborn and Hamma the monk, dwarf monk, were prematurely disposed of by a beholder. And so I'm sitting there with my tiefling who I've grown to love and adore and cherish. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want my tiefling to get eaten. So I'm going to create a new character, one that, you know, I don't care as much about, and make him, you know, as abrasive and annoying as possible. And there came Bronson.
Nice.
Human fighter, you know, overconfident, oblivious to people around him. But I've actually come to embrace Bronson as a part of myself, a certain part of myself. And so now I find him trying to interact with the other character. The character interaction in this game is amazing. He's found a fast friend in Zechariah. He's given up on Liana as far as
I think everyone has.
he
Listen,
tried. And
Liana
tried
wasn't supposed to be like this long. It was supposed to resolve after the undercrop, but
You talking about the sandpaper?
well, among other things, yes.
he makes fun of Talnar, but he likes Talnar. He has a very doting father-like relationship with Lobar, and although because he's been carrying Lobar around in a golf bag for several weeks.
Right. The golf bag.
And yeah, the castle thing I thought was hilarious too, because we made that little castle, the Alpha Castle, and we put Lobar inside it, and I guess there must have been some magic in that castle we built, because when we placed Lobar inside, he began to dance around.
Yeah, he popped out. He came
And
Popped out and ripped the goat in half. There you go.
Yes, that's right.
ripped the head off a goat and fed it to Lobar. That was amazing. I still think we should put a trigger warning on that episode, but
PETA don't care. They kill most of theirs anyways.
Yeah, folks who don't know what we're talking about when we talk about the golf bag, we have a member of our group, Aaron, that plays Philip, who is a hippie from the 1970s Earth that somehow managed to get transported through time to the Iron Realm, and he's been on a quest to find shrooms the entire time and is just whacked out of his gourd. Well, it turns out he was actually on a golf course at the time that he was transported, and his golf bag came with him. And on one of those rare days that the DM allows the group to go shopping, Lobar was in a in a weapons store in Highwind Keep, and finds this golf bag. Well, come to find out, the golf bag happens to be a bag of holding as well. And so Lobar,
Nice.
here he is, rolling around with his golf bag with wheels on it.
Very cool.
Because my club was too big to carry, right?
It was too big, so he stuck it in there. And then all of a sudden, when Lobar fell asleep with everybody else, folks woke up in in this other part of in Astarag, and Lobar made an appearance at one point, and and then he falls asleep. So everybody put Lobar, and I think Minx was in there at one point in time. Everybody knows that a bag of holding, you can't put a live creature in there for more than an hour or it'll die. So Lobar's head and Minx's head have all been hanging out of the golf bag with the rest of the bodies inside of it. So
And inside the golf bag, which we have not put to good use thus far, we need to remember that we have this. We found a magic 8-ball.
That's right. We do have magic.
Is
And
that
I
in the
still
golf
have the
bag
app
or
on my
mine?
phone.
I do too. I get notifications every day.
Yeah, I do too. It's so spammy, it's ridiculous.
Nice.
But I have the app still on my phone.
It's not actually in my bag of holding, which how I got that one was actually kind of funny. We end up getting in a battle and killing a couple of the characters, and Chris tells me to roll a d20 or something. I roll it, told him the number, he goes, okay, now roll this. Okay. I rolled, a D6 or D8, whatever it is, and Chris went, well, you found a bag of holding with 250 platinum pieces, and and me's face like, what? And that's actually
all this money and this bag.
Yeah, right. Well, and also at the same time, that's what this bag's actually. The bag of holding is actually supposed to mimic this bag, and this is just a straight black cover with the bag of holding I have right now.
Nice.
So something may or may not happen with it later on. It all depends. But this is exactly what it should look like in game. No, I hope not. Well, no, I do have a mimic coin in there.
Yeah, the mimic coin is in there, and the do y'all still have the
Ball bearing?
The ball bearing that
Yes.
screams?
It's in the same pocket as the mimic coin that's wrapped in cloth.
Yeah, the ball itself was one that you had a bag of ball bearings.
I still have it.
and took one of those and threw it down the staircase at the in this
That's cute.
particular game, and it rolls down, and all of a sudden it starts screaming, and it's covered in oil, and they're like, what?
Put it right
What?
there.
What? What? And here's this ball bearing that's screaming at them.
We just put it in a bag of holding.
You put it
Now-
in the bag of holding.
And this bag of holding, I don't think has any body parts. It's only the golf bag.
Yeah, the
My
golf
bag
bag.
of holding I have has the books from the library, has a gold candelabra in it, and every odd piece that we're thinking is going to Relpec's telescope,
Aha.
and all the things for Relpec's telescope that we're thinking is in the top
Yeah.
part of the bag, while the books and everything is in the bottom part of the bag.
Now,
So-
Jeff, I see the dice jail there. Chris and Jeff, or anybody wants to say this, there have been some things that you guys have created physically from that have come out of the story or come out of these play sessions. Chris, I think maybe you made something and sent it to everybody in the game. Is that correct, or am I?
Well, and when I did the what's it called? When I did the birthday game, I sent everyone an invitation that was hand done. And then when they got there for the game, each of them had a box sitting in front of them that I had stained and put felt in, and then put a bunch of little things inside of it, like
Nice.
set of dice and spell chips. A little vial that had water and
so speak on that. Is that something that was part of the game that you had created something physical?
I wanted to do
all the
something,
players.
Well, I wanted to do something fun for each of the players in the group. They would be able to take home with them, especially the dice. That was the most important thing.
Okay.
But during the course of the game itself, each of the characters, or actually at the very beginning, because we had 16 people, I didn't know how I was going to be able to break up a major battle at the very beginning. So I had a Werther's candy, a spearmint candy, and in the box, and that was it. And I asked those people who had eaten the Werther's to raise their hands. And I said, every one of you is asleep. And then I asked how many of you ate the spearmint, and those people raised their hands, and I said, each one of you is poisoned. And then I said, how many of you didn't eat or eat either of them? And those people who didn't raise their hands, I said, this is what you see. And then went into the story that way. So it was very interactive. I try and do that a lot. And John, you know that because I did a lot of
you
that.
Did.
We played,
and that's what made me. That's right. And I saw that reference from the past, and I just thought that was so neat. I wanted to hear a little bit more about that. And I didn't know if the Dice Jail was part of that. I know several of the guys
that was
had.
something Matt got.
Yeah.
Okay.
This, I actually, again, I watched Critical Role, mostly to fill the slight time between my pill passes at work. Well, I got this made where I work at. I work in a prison. Well, on our Christmas, party that we had last year, Chris, said, well, no more than X amount per gift, So I went ahead and just got, the gift that was going to be exchanged. But those I did it as a personal gift to everyone, because I know the guy that could do it. He knocked out all 6 of them. It was Chris and me, Bradley, David, Allison. Yeah. So 5 of the ones that were normally playing.
Cool.
And I got them made, and that's the Christmas gift to them.
Okay.
To give a personal gift. And Dice Jail, what it is basically a concept. Let's say you're rolling really horrible with dice. That one game, I've used it already 2 or 3 times. Because I rolled in that 1 and I rolled it 2 or roll. Perfect example is actually going back to when we're going to Ephraim and Tolnar Falls. Well, one of the things that was because I was rolling so crappy with my dice, and so I ended up putting in Dice Jail for 2 D20. Both my metal D20s I put in my Dice Jail that night.
Yeah.
And
but again, it's an idea to where this group, where you guys have created this, fantasy campaign, but there are these things that manifest into reality and continue and are part of the story. And what an incredible thing! Just so cool.
That's where I think.
Everybody.
Real quick before I take off.
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
I was going to say, I think that's part of, to go off what you just said, what Chris has done versus, a lot of times people will show up and play a game in somebody's world that they designed. But Chris has created this thing. He is, the all-powerful Bog. But being all-powerful, he had the wisdom to say, okay, this is also your world, and giving us the freedom to create. And
wow.
It's almost like, if you have a part of something, you're more immersed into it.
That's true.
You know, and you know your backstories, all your players. He works with them, talks with them. Okay, where's your story? Where do you come from? Okay, well, this is how that will fit in this world. You know, and tries to meld everything. Everybody has a piece of it. You don't feel like you're sitting somewhere in some far off land that you don't know. No, this is your home.
I never gave a sheet to anyone and said, this is the character you're going to play. Except for, I think, maybe Jonathan, which his at the very beginning of the campaign, he really hadn't been able to come up with a character. So I handed him something and he ran with it. Whereas everybody else, I want you to have fun. I don't want you to be in this particular mold. Okay, I need a wizard, or I need a fighter, or I need a ranger. Be what you want to be, and I will help spur that in the right direction. What's up, David?
Yeah, and you think about it all throughout the week, so it's not just a Wednesday thing. You're constantly thinking about this world and how you fit into it, and how you can expand it, and where your story is, and it just makes it. I don't know. Just makes it a lot more than just a game. But like I said, it is.
David, what were you going to say?
Because when I got involved, I was told that the one thing they really needed was a cleric.
That is very true, because at the time they had no healer whatsoever. The person who was supposed to be their healer ended up not playing more than one night.
So I designed a character very much against my type. And I'm used to playing magic users who are hide in the back and shoot over people's heads and try to protect and stay out of combat. But for somehow I created a short halfling magic or cleric who really doesn't heal anybody but goes charging into battle like a madman.
Or runs
Madman being the operative word.
Yeah, madman is the operative word.
Yeah. The first time we met this cleric, we're in the middle of a fight, and all of a sudden there is a tiny naked thing running through the kitchen.
Well, see, it was one of those things where Chris didn't tell me what was going on. I had my character, but I not being familiar with 5th edition and the programs that we were using, I had the basic stats, but I had no armor, I had no equipment. I had nothing in the way of inventory. So I'd been listening in for a couple of game sessions, and he said, okay, today you're going to get involved. And I'm sitting watching and playing, and all of a sudden you guys get into a fight. I figured, okay, my perfect time to jump in.
Boy, literally. Boy, did you.
So, because I have no armor... Because I have no armor and no weapons, basically they're in the middle of the fight, and when my initiative comes up, a small, semi-naked halfling wearing nothing but a loincloth and a holy symbol goes charging into the battle, screaming at the top of his lungs, makes a horrendous leap on a human-sized or bigger character.
Yeah, it was the chef.
In an attempt to grapple, fails the grapple and only hangs on to a leg.
And then you have Jeff, Tolnar, that goes and does a final blow right over Q's head and turns Q into Chucky, basically, because he just gets showered with blood.
So I'm basically, a naked halfling coated in blood who is now holding on to a larger than man-sized cook's cleaver. So nice. It's the multiple image out of a horror movie. Yeah.
So sounds more like The Hangover, but
or The Hangover.
When the guy jumps out the car.
It was probably one of the most interesting entrances of a new character. It's almost like something out of a WrestleMania, where a character that you've never seen before, charging right down the towards the ring, just going absolutely nuts, and everyone's like,
and the crowd goes wild.
What? Right. And then all of a sudden, here's the chef getting just tossed and ripped apart. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and from then on out, my character Q has worn a human-sized chainmail shirt.
See you, Paul.
As his armor.
Hi, buddy. Man, we're thinking about you, man.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, buddy. Thinking and praying
he's
for you,
wearing
man.
a human-sized
Thank you. Love y'all.
chainmail shirt as his armor, so it's basically a skirt on him. Still carrying the original cleaver into combat, still doing the run, leap, attack mover. And the only thing that's added since the original combat is 8 or 10 episodes later we're fighting a giant dog, and I jump on its back like a rodeo ride, take its head off with my cleaver, and then proceed to use its collar as a belt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
He's
that's basically my guy.
acquiring just little pieces of
Little.
clothing.
Think of Frodo Baggins wearing nothing but chainmail and a spiked dog collar as a belt, carrying a cleaver as a weapon.
Yep.
I mean, that's my guy.
So I need to cut out. So I'll share my favorite. It's a toss up because seeing Jonathan's face when we walked into that room and saw his armor on the dummy,
Yes.
that might have been the best, but I don't know. It's a toss up. And I forgot the other one. I forgot what I was going to say.
I will say this to me. Thank you for last week, 2 weeks ago when we played, because you threw a wrench on how I thought the conversation was going to go and made me improv on the spot. That was awesome.
Oh,
Polnar
yeah.
was asking Liana
Yeah.
to take the bag holding until someone, is worth, carrying it over. And your response was, well, I'm not good enough.
Between dealing with Jake the Drake from Steak Farm,
Yeah,
And
Steak
you
Farm, there
turning
we go.
and you turning into a polar bear to take care of some lizard
Technically, it was a
creatures.
cave bear. It just has the same stats as a polar
No,
bear because
on,
Liana hasn't seen a
oh.
polar bear.
Well, my notes say on a particular mission, you turned into a polar bear.
I do that, but I say it's a cave bear. But stat-wise, if you look in the monster manual, the cave bear stats are the same as the polar bear stats. So it's
Good.
Okay.
it doesn't have its own. There's just like a sub note that if it's if your character's spending any time in these areas,
That's
it
what
would have
they-
seen a cave bear versus polar bear is a very specific region, and you can't turn it at anything you haven't seen.
Yeah, because we were fighting the lizards and you turned into the bear, and it was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I have enough fear of
Yeah.
big animals anyway, and you bring a large bear into the equation.
Not the biggest animal I've turned into.
No, it is not.
There's a trivia question.
It wasn't on video. It was before we started recording.
Okay.
Mhm.
Gosh, that would have been a good one.
We've only
Yeah.
been recording
I'll
since
say,
August.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say.
Aha.
So, it's a combo of two things that happened within the same. The first was that stupid beeping ghost that I will never forgive you for as long as I live, Chris Boggs.
I remember hearing about
Yeah.
this one at Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Chris Boggs, we're stuck in the thieves.
That's like
Guild,
when your mom says your
Oh.
full name. You're super in trouble.
Yeah, you're in
I know his
Well,
full name,
this
and I'm
was
being nice
a-
about it, not you.
Right.
she
Uh-huh.
hasn't forgiven me for the ghost.
Guys.
No,
No,
and I
this was
never will.
great.
She
It
just
was
said
great.
never will.
Never will.
Tell us the
So-
story, Ami.
I am a puzzle solver. Like that's my
Okay.
thing, right?
All right.
Personally, I'm a puzzle solver. You give me a
Okay.
puzzle, I have to suss it out to the end. So we're stuck in the Thieves Guild. It was right after the armor incident where Jonathan's first character, had ordered this armor, and it was like his dream armor. And every time we'd go to a town, he'd be like, "Is the armor in yet? Do I have any news on the armor? Is it here yet? Do we know where it is?" For
We
months, he
said
was
that it's
waiting
not
for this
here.
armor. Months waiting for this armor. He dies
Oh
in
no.
a beholder fight.
Oh no.
Rolls up a new character. Almost immediately, we get summoned to the Thieves Guild.
His brother.
And we walk into the room, and there is like a target dummy wearing the freaking armor, and all the guys in the Thieves Guild are using it for target practice. And Jonathan's face, there was murder on his face.
He's not playing anymore.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
So anyway, we're stuck in this building. They have a mission for us, but they won't let us leave.
Wow.
We're supposed to leave in the morning to go do this mission, and I'm in bed, and this ghost appears in my room. And it was a random roll of the die. It wasn't. Chris didn't intend it to be my room. He picked. There were 6 of us, I think, that night. He rolled a d6, and my room was the one that it ended up in.
Okay.
I don't remember all the details, but there was something about footprints or writing in the ashes from the fireplace. The ghost points out the window, and then it vanishes. So I got to figure this out, right?
Well, yeah. Well, sure.
I
Hey,
get
it's like
everybody up.
Jesus. Hey, it's like when Jesus wrote something in the
Exactly.
sand, right? before
Exactly.
that's right.
Yeah.
Come on, Bible. Why didn't you tell us what he wrote?
Exactly right.
No.
Exactly.
So I get everybody up, and I'm like, all right, this is what happened, and we start trying to figure it out, right? So we're looking out the window. We're like, what was she pointing at? We can't figure it out. So we're like, all right, we got to like go outside and figure it out, right? So we go to one door. It's like a long corridor. We go all the way to, say, the west. We go all the way to the west. We go out the door, and the Thieves Guild like head sorcerer guy is standing there blocking our path. He's like, go back to bed. So we're like, okay, fine. So we go all the way to the east, and we open the door. Thieves Guild sorcerer guy standing there, and he's like, I said go back to bed. We're like, we can't get out of the building. So then I'm like, okay, did we send Lobar up somebody up the chimney,
Lobar
trying to go
up the chimney
upstairs
in her room to see
to get
if-
out from there.
Yeah.
And long story short, we cannot get out of this building. We
Okay.
cannot figure out how the heck to, like, what it was this ghost trying to tell us. We don't know. I'm so frustrated. End of the session. Chris starts cracking up. He's like, it was a red herring. There was nothing. There was nothing with the ghost. That's the first half of the story. Next session.
Told you that story to tell you this one.
Right.
Yep.
Next
Exactly.
session.
But that wasn't the actual story.
Was it like,
Well, no, it is. It is.
No,
because
that
it is.
okay.
So after he's cracking up and he thinks it's the funniest dang thing in the world that we wasted all this time on this wild goose chase and we
Right.
didn't get anything accomplished because all we were doing was trying to figure out the stupid ghost thing and what she was trying to tell us, right? And he thinks it's the
Sure.
funniest darn thing in the world. Next session, we're walking down the street and I see the ghost. And she beckons us to follow her, and I turn around, go the other way. Like, fool me once. Well, then he's getting mad. He's like, you're supposed to follow her. And I'm like, what? Listen. You
Listen,
told me
Linda.
I wasted my
Right.
time trying to follow this woman a week ago.
Right.
I am not
Not
making
doing
that
that- not
mistake
making that
again.
mistake.
And he's
Right,
getting
yeah,
all
there you
irritated
go,
that we're
right.
not going with the ghost. And
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever direction she is, I am 180 degrees the other
Yeah.
way.
They ended up splitting the party, and they did a bunch of what was it? A bunch of shopping.
3 weeks
One
of
of-
shopping.
3 weeks of shopping.
Whoa.
Yeah, well, they
Only
were trying to
shopping
get clues
they've ever done.
from the different shops, and
So
So that's where we found the guy selling the body parts that were, would buy the body parts from us, and yeah,
Yeah,
and the case of healing potions of questionable age.
questionable. Yep. That's in the golf bag of holding.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but then they all kind of meet back up together, and they realize that they're standing in front of the gardens they were supposed to be going towards anyhow, that have been totally destroyed except for a tower, the remains of a tower over in like one corner of this entire area. And there's the ghost again, standing on top of all of the rubble, pointing down.
But here's the
Oh,
thing: we
wow.
already knew that's where we were supposed to end up because the other clues that we had already made it clear. And so he's like, "See, if you'd have followed the ghost in the first place, you'd have known right where to go." And we're like, "We knew where to go. We just needed other info. Like we were intel gathering before we charged into the
Oh,
demon-infested
my
hole."
That was
Like-
where,
And-
Bronson found the copies of Casper
Yes.
in one of the bookstores.
Yes.
Casper, the friendly ghost. It's Casper.
Casper.
It's a comic book in nature, but we've you guys have gone to a bank. You've had Twitters, which are messages
Or lie and carry notes.
Or
it's kind of a little bit
Nice.
reminiscent to was it Harry Potter, where the messages are flying around and stuff. But this happens to be paper cranes, Japanese paper cranes that have writing on them. That, you open them up, but they fly all over the place and stuff. I thought that was pretty funny. At the
So
time.
we get down in the hole,
Well,
and there's like a magic gate we have to get through, right? And there's nonsense writing on the gate. And I realized that in one of the shops, maybe somewhere along the line, I picked up basically the cipher to translate this thing. And I get to work translating it. And it's quite lengthy. And halfway through, I look at him and I said, "Are you kidding me?" And he said, "You have to finish it."
But the rest of the group,
Are you kidding me? They don't know.
Over. They're all. We're live, and they all go over to Ami and are looking over as she continues.
is this?
And I'm like,
Rick
"Are you?"
Astley?
Yes. So then I'm like, "No, I'm not finishing this." He said, "No, you have to finish it." I said, "Okay," because I'm thinking maybe it doesn't end the way I think it does. So I finished the whole thing, and there's a typo.
There was
That he used
one
the
letter.
wrong character,
One letter.
and it was wrong. But B, he rickrolled us.
Oh no!
Yeah.
What?
And in the middle of Spec Ops, how we opened the gate was we had to sing it.
Oh,
All of us.
man.
In the middle of Spec Ops.
It was awesome. It was.
And this
awesome.
is pre-recording, so this
Oh,
is
yeah.
being recorded.
We were live.
Oh my
The entire
goodness!
room stopped what they were doing as they sang the song, and I'm going, "This is awesome!" It was so cool.
He's over there in the corner.
That's
As a
major.
DM, that'll be
That's
the way
major.
to get it done.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
those are the kind of things, little pieces that make it so much fun. All these remembrances are things that we will always remember and may put into a story that we do, that someone else does down the road. I mean, that's just how it is,
I mean, who can forget a group of skeletons in a conga line?
Yes,
Right?
Bradley.
Or-
Those skeletons start doing a conga line was hilarious.
Or you have me that's been sitting on the idea for Jeff, my Hexblade Warlock, for a while. Finally ended up rolling him up. And I literally took one Elder's Invocation to mess with Chris. Is the reason why I took it, which is Devil
Wow.
Sight.
Yeah.
And Chris does not like my Devil Sight at
No.
all. Because
Not at
what
all.
it does, it allows me to see in magical and non-magical darkness up to 120 feet, like it's like normal sight.
Okay, wow.
So when we're doing the one shot that turned into a 3-shot, I'm like, I can see it's magical. I'm like, I can see a non-magical and magical darkness. And he goes, "Where's that at?"
Right.
PBH
Right.
110. And you see him in the episode go into PBH 110, reads it, goes, "I'm gonna send you a picture," because I can see straight down the hallway, like it's nothing.
Yeah, he's the
And
only
then
one.
he gives also Jeff the Robes of Eyes, which I specifically asked if my sight, if what I can see can also be seen through this Robe of Eyes as well, or it's just what Robes of Eyes I can see. Well, he's like, yeah, you can see within, use your own, natural sight through Robes of Eyes. Cool. Well, now not only do I have Devil Sight, which I can see in darkness and magical and non-magical darkness, I can also see invisible creatures and objects with Robe of Eyes. And as well, I can see into the ethereal plane up to
Wow.
120 feet.
Wow. That's going to take away some DM surprises.
And
Right.
it's like,
I
I'll
mean,
put it up.
the DM can always roll that the eyes start to ooze and pop and no longer
Yes.
work.
I mean, he can make it where my Robe of Eyes, can't see an ethereal plane, or
And,
Think of an eye infection on the road.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
They all
Sure.
have pink eye.
That's right. Yep.
Conjunctivitis.
Just wait till you roll a 1.
That's
On a skill
exactly.
check.
But
right.
here's the thing, though. It gives me an advantage on perception checks, too.
And then all of a sudden someone blows something into his face and he is blinded and cannot use that sight anymore.
Which
Dungeons
I'm
are
waiting for
incredibly
him
dusty.
to.
I mean, you know.
I'm really waiting for him to sit there and cast daylight or the light spell near it, where I have to spend my next turn to cast darkness. Because if not, I'll be blinded for a whole minute.
The idea that this would go as far as it has gone, the Iron Realm starting off as something that was just a couple of folks getting together, having dinner, and then playing around, a table, which we all have done in the past.
Yeah.
And having a good time and drinking drinks and just relaxing and stuff, to building something that became a birthday party, and then saying, you know what, I want to continue doing this, and then asking some folks that are acquaintances, and it just building and building and building and building and building, and having other people say, hey, I heard that you're playing this, how can I get involved in it? Right. I mean, that's pretty much how this all has transpired over the last 2.5 years, since I almost 3 years, since I started doing it. But this is not something that can't be done by anyone. This is something that anyone with a little bit of time and creativity, or a group of people, which really and truly, this could never have become what it is without everyone that's been involved for the last 3 years. From John and Sky and Aaron and Liz and Ryan and Chris Miller Marshall and Jordan Turner. Those are the folks that I started off with, and then building and building and building, and then sitting down and going, hey, I want to see this story arc that's here with these underlying stories that are here. I mean, we've got 2 years worth of materials that John Martin and I came up with that just starts scraping the surface of the Iron Realm.
Wow.
There's so much that we're going to be able to do, and our hope is that people enjoy this enough that they want to be a part of it in whatever way, shape, or form, whether it's through Patreon or just getting the word out and telling other people about it, contributing, whatever the case may be. I don't want this just to be me. That's never my intent. My intent is to write something that y'all will be able to enjoy and to continue playing on, and then build a manual and build some modules that are like this particular campaign that we're doing right now. I want to make it into a manual or into a module, and some others that I've got, so that other people can do it and just explode the idea of the Iron Realm, because that's what it's there for. It's for people to be able to participate in and to use for their own stuff. I mean, we've got so many realms that are out there that Wizards of the Coast and TSR, and even back to the early days when it first started, that they were created with the idea that everybody could play, not just one little group doing it over and over and over again. That's the point. And yeah, some people are doing really well and making some money off of it. Everything that, like we've said before, everything that we make goes right back into making the technology better, making the maps, making the modules, that keeping up with current information. Roll20, D&D Beyond, was it DM's Guild, all that kind of stuff. That, I mean, it's not cheap, but it's not expensive either. It's just, being able to have the right stuff. And the folks that are here know I have a dream for where I'd like to see this go, as far as being able to get together and be able to do larger things in an environment where we can entertain you and entertain ourselves, not making any money. off of this. It's not for me. I'm more interested in seeing a smile on their faces and a smile on the audience's face. If I haven't done that, if everyone walks away and says, I don't want to play this anymore, then I didn't do my job. And my main focus is to make sure that y'all are entertained, that crew and the cast is entertained, if you want to call yourselves cast members of Iron Realm, and be able to do something fun. That's my dream, is to be able to build this even bigger so that it becomes even more of a reality. It may not happen, it may happen. It just depends on how we go.
Well, but Chris, and we can see that. I think anyone that's watched the last 24 episodes, right? 24 episodes at a minimum of what, 2 hours an episode?
Yeah,
hour and a half,
between two and a half and 3 hours, depending.
Right. I mean, I think people can see that.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, I can certainly see it. And I'm sure.
Yeah.
These guys can.
It's it's for me. Each and every week that we get together just blows my mind at everyone's creativity, everyone's willingness to kind of do something different and be able to go into another world that you've never been a part of, never seen before, never experienced, and just the explosion of creativity that this group has gone through. I mean, wow. And you know, what I wrote initially with our stuff isn't even close to what has become. I mean, it really has changed over the course of you know, the last, well, since we started doing the Ephraim campaign. I mean, that there's a lot of stuff that's changed in that. The sliding walls, 2 weeks ago? That was my original. And then I went,
oh wow,
there's got to be something different. And when like the cliffhangers, that one cliffhanger that we had, like, what was it?
The run,
you know, where the
run,
the NPC looks at you and goes,
"Run." Yeah,
that and the
so great,
the sound of something going.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
oh,
even
yeah,
I got chills.
Yeah.
Because that was something that everyone goes, what? I mean, audience folks, I mean, if you haven't seen that one, you need to go back and listen to it and watch it again.
Yep.
Because those kind of things make this just explode with possibility, you know?
And I will say this, we've all four of us are here right now are either former or current dungeon masters.
That's true.
That's
all of you,
all of us.
Current.
Yeah, I am. Yep.
I run a game Fridays with a group of people that wanted to learn how to play. I'm running Minds of Fendelver. And there's a creature in there. I left as a perfect cliffhanger, just like Chris did 2 different times, where the creature can get into someone's head. Well, my player ended up rolling and saving against it. I'm like, okay, cool. And that's where we're going to end. And that right there, like, what? I'm like,
yeah,
that right there are some of the best moments from a Dungeon Master perspective, because
and I stole it from comic books, by the way. I've been doing that as a DM.
Oh yeah,
and I stole it from comic books, right? And I mean, there's been other genres and any tropes that also do that. But you know, a comic book, you get to the last panel, you know, and there, you know, looks like Batman is dead or getting ready to die, and you're like, okay, when's the next issue coming out?
Yeah.
What happened?
Right.
So, yeah.
And I will say this, I'm a new Dungeon Master, and I will say this more so to the audience, for anyone that's wanting to become a Dungeon Master, do it. What I did first is learn how, you know, play a couple games as a player to get a idea of how the basic rules work, and go from there. At the end of the day, Dungeon Master is, as long as you're going to sit there and be fair on your ruling and go for and be concise on it. That's the best thing you can do with your players. If there's something that, you know, it's a big, you know, controversial thing, put a pin on it, tell them that you look it up, research after the game, and address it next game.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in that, right, Jeff? I mean, there's no shame in that.
I mean,
because, and it is very intimidating. I'm glad you're speaking about this, because it is incredibly intimidating to think that you basically have to come up with this incredible story, or a story, all the monsters, all the NPCs, right? I characterized it as, it's just like, if you're watching a TV show, the DM is the person that has come up with the entire TV show. The actors are the players. But everything else is the DM. If there's a candle, on the desk, the DM put it there.
Or the cast of characters go, what do I see when I enter this room? Or do I see a candle when I enter?
Right.
Or do I see a fireplace that's on? Or, you know, whatever the case is. Read voraciously. Write all the time.
Good advice.
Steal from everywhere.
Right.
Yes. Yes. I mean,
there's no original ideas.
Well,
I mean, if you look at it, because me and David talked about this, everything has been used. Look at movies now. They're using Shakespeare in a different way. 10 Things I Hate About You. You know, all that.
Solomon said,
you know,
nothing new under the sun.
Right. So you're looking at
4,000 years
take
ago.
things from what you love and twist it. Things I'm watching on TikTok for D&D. There's one of them that sits there and use music lyrics to create their own character in their world, and that's how they come up with their stuff.
I've written several stories or several D&D events that were based on a song.
Isn't that cool?
You guys never know it.
Now that is really neat.
But at the beginning, it has the lyrics to whatever the song is, so that I can refer to it. Now, when Ami was talking about that Rickroll, that was funny, but it also at that point in time was very serious, because if they had not gotten that, they were going to be in deep trouble in that particular room, because the walls were glowing a different color, with runes and writings all over the wall, warning them not to open this path. And they were reading what was in green around the actual not portal, but the staircase going down. And so when they rickrolled, they were going, oh gosh. I was like, if you had not done that, you guys were going to be in serious trouble, because those runes that were on the walls were getting ready to kill you all.
Isn't that interesting?
Because it was there to warn them to not open that.
Like the campaign I'm slowly but surely writing myself, I'm taking, a part of it from an anime I'm watching, which is really neat how to join, groups in there. Which, I like the idea. So, and in my campaign I'm running, I've made in there it says, well, if your party doesn't see, run into this person, you can bring them back later. Cool. I didn't like the stats from the thing for the evil mage, so I rolled my own, created my own, character, and popped him in for that character, and it ended up doing something that shocked them all, and they were not expecting it.
Nice.
And that's the thing about the Dungeon Master. If you're running a pre-made module, you can improvise anything you want. You can add, more battles. You can take away more battles.
And you know what? It makes it exciting for the players, and sometimes they don't even know it, but you've made it exciting for yourself. You've done something that you're like, just like with rolling that character, right? You have done something, and we're not turning this into a DM clinic, but you've done something that the players think that's cool. You're also engaged with it because you've created it. This is something personal to you, special to you, right?
Well,
I had a friend of mine that he did a module based off of, he was a DM, he created the module off of, we were talking about lyrics, but Enter Sandman from Metallica.
Mm-hmm.
And had done those lyrics and turned it into a module. And I was like, what an incredible concept. What an amazing thing, you know.
David, what you say?
Ami said it the best. You know, you want to keep the characters entertained. You want to keep the players entertained. But from a DM perspective, there is no greater entertainment than to watch your players struggle, founder, get wrapped around the axle, get all spun up over what you think is a very simple concept. You just want to watch them squirm because that means you know you did their job right, or your job right. If they're willing to invest a lot of time and a lot of skull sweat into an idea that was really meant to just be there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You have entertained them, and by extension, you've entertained yourself, which is what this is all about, is entertainment.
Yeah,
exactly. And being able to do certain things like, you know, I went from that wizard battle to 5 dice bags like this.
Oh, wow.
They were all mimics. They took their short rest and had to fight 5 mimics.
Well, I think we've kind of entertained ourselves a bunch, and hopefully entertained the audience as well. I do want to thank those of you who have remained with us, and everybody who is able to be here with us over the course of the evening. Thank you, audience, for tuning in. This is a very special episode for us, being at number 25. Yes, there is a giveaway. And we've got a bunch of stuff in our giveaway. We have Dungeons Box, which is I have to move my microphone down here a little bit, is a dice box with magnets made of wood. We have a one-of-a-kind miniature. I don't know if you can really see that.
It's still blurry.
It is still blurry.
Probably white.
Take photographs of this. You guys will see
that's
this.
right.
We have some dice from Phoenix Dice that we're giving away. I've got tons of stickers from different companies, and the pièce de résistance. And Matt, we do have Smuggler's Coffee +1 to Charisma, which is what is the flavor?
It is it is orange blossom and cocoa with vanilla.
Nice.
We absolutely love Smuggler's
Brew me. I'll take a cup right now, please.
And we also have
Bronton's already gone.
Yep.
That's right.
2 decks.
Look at this.
Part 2 to a deck of stories that comes from criticaldice.com. Basically, if you are a new DM or even an experienced DM or just someone who wants to run a game one night, you pull one of these cards and you have everything right there to start your mission or your campaign, or just to inspire you to do whatever. So all of that is going to be in the and there'll be some other little things in there as well, but we'll all be in a grand prize package, and the photographs will be up here right after the show is over with. But you need to like, comment, subscribe, and you need to go to our Facebook page and find followers of the Iron Realm and let us know that you are watched the episode tonight. As soon as we see that on our Facebook page, as well as the comment section of our YouTube channel, that person will win the grand prize, and we will mail it out to you, and we will make sure that you are thanked in our next episode. We also want to thank every one of the folks that have made this such a special group and special time for us. If you're a dice maker and we have given you a shout out over the course of the last year, your pictures for your company as well as your names will be posted here very shortly in the after part of this, because we think of the world of you. We want you to be a part of us. Get in touch with us if you aren't on our list, and we will make sure that we get you as a shout out for one of our future episodes. Now, episode 26 will be in 2 weeks, and we will continue FRN, and hopefully we'll be finishing that up by the end of the year.
We'll see how that goes. Right now they're in the midst of a fight, so you want to make sure that you watch the last episode, episode 24, and then watch number 26, because who knows? Talnar might die. He might survive. It's anyone's guess what's going to happen next. It's all at the roll of the dice, so we want to make sure that you say, let's roll. Greetings, adventurers. It's Chris, the DM here. Like we said during the show, we're having a giveaway up for our 25th episode, and you could win a ton of free stuff with this one. Smuggler's Coffee +1 to Charisma, field notes, DM, and map-making booklets, tons of stickers, a one-of-a-kind miniature dice, wooden dice box, and deck of stories part 1 and 2. There will also be some surprises as well. All you need to do is subscribe, like this video, leave a comment on our YouTube channel, and then go over to our Facebook page. Like the page, and then leave a comment on the Facebook page. We'll then randomly draw a winner from those folks who have commented, and we will announce the winner during our 26th episode. Good luck! It's not very often that you get to celebrate a milestone like we are here at the Iron Realm. What you're seeing is a brief history of how we got started and who we are as a family. Friendships have been forged within our group, and this is just a special way for us to show you who we are and where we come from. We hope that you are enjoying our broadcasts each week. We certainly enjoy what we do. Here's to 25 more episodes and years of adventures to come.